one of the major barriers that are really hindering the youth from accessing finance are quite a number. And I'll just go with maybe the first two or first three. One, we have the issue of access to factors of production. So we realize that most of the young people do not have access to factors of production, rather. And I've interacted with quite many, even as recently as yesterday, where you're able to meet young people with proofs of concept. They have ideas, they want to invest, but they tell you, you know what, I need resources and I'm not able to get it. And you know what, this is still tied to access to finance, because some of these resources, some of them can serve as security. You're already talking of collateral, which also the young people don't have. So that's one. I think access to factors of production has a really strong linkage to financial access. Number two, very few youth have bankable accounts where they can be able to put their money in, save up their money in normal banking accounts. And this down when you have more and more young people having bankable accounts, then this now builds up their credit profile, which then helps even banks and other financial institutions to gauge them, to see can they receive credit, and if yes, how much can they receive. So I think one of the issues that I've learned, even interacting with the youth, is that quite a number, especially those in the rural areas, do not have bank accounts and all that. So their credit rating is very low for them to be able to access any loans. And lastly, we have the issue of collateral again. So I think there needs to be some sort of equity and accommodation to be able to take in the youth, or rather to be tailored into the needs of the youth, because again, you realize that most of the young people do not have this collateral. So when you go to a bank or to a financial institution or to a microfinance institution, and you are a young person asking for for some sort of a loan, maybe to use it to invest or something, then they require you to give some collateral, which the youth don't have. So that then keeps them out of accessing any loan in the first place. When you look at the access to finance amongst the youth in the rural and urban areas in the context of agriculture, I realize that the youth in the urban areas are a bit ahead. I mean, they're able to access some. They have some level of access to finance. When you compare them with their counterparts in the rural areas. This is of course due to urbanization, and there are few opportunities that are in the urban areas. But the irony here is that even if, when you look at the youth in the urban areas, even if they're able to access some level of financial access, most of them are not likely to use that, or rather to invest that amount, however little it is, back to agriculture. And which then even begs another question that, or brings on another irony, that the young people who are in the rural areas, most of whom are in agriculture, are still not able to access finances, or rather to access loans or credit that they need actually to be able to invest in agriculture, because it is them who are in the rural areas. It is them who are trying to invest in agriculture, but still they are not able to get that credit that they need. So for me, it's some level of irony that while young people in urban areas can be able to access some level of finance compared to their counterparts in the rural areas, they are not likely to use that amount in agriculture. Whereas those who need some money to invest in agriculture, who are in the rural setups, are not able to get that money, so that they're able to invest in agriculture. loan products should be tailored to the needs of the young people. That is the first thing, because you realize that young people are faced with different contexts, different circumstances. So we need to see to it that we are coming with tailored loan products that specifically fits the needs of a young person, right? And for me, that then will bring on board the issues of um, policy frameworks here, so that we see how do we come up with policies that will really incentivize even the private sector to be able to include young people and in their credit portfolios, and specifically target young people, because the issue the financial service providers, which include banks and other and MFIs and others, is the issues of risk. They feel that lending perhaps to young persons who have maybe no good credit rating, they don't have collateral, they don't have any factors of production and stuff, really then makes them to be risk averse. So if we're able to get policies that perhaps are incentivizing the financial service providers to be able to do something to target them, I think this is something that can work. And with that also, we need the private sector to see the essence of giving the young people an opportunity to be able to access these loans. So I think that's a whole conversation between three parties. First, the policy makers. We need the private sectors and other stakeholders in the agricultural space to be able to put their heads together to see how they come with tailored loan products that are responsive to the youth and will really meet their needs, as it were. Mobile wallets and digital platforms have really done a good job, and they've proven to be more effective in helping the young people specifically to be able to access these loans. And those are some of the solutions that we are seeing are responsive to the needs of the young people when it comes to access to finance, because young people, they tend to run away from bureaucracies, long loan application processes and such. They want something that they can be able to quickly apply for and get it, and move on. So, and we are seeing that most of the beneficiaries, even with these digital platforms, are actually the youth. So for me, I think that's something that has already worked, and it's now about scaling, but also now tailoring these loan products to the needs of. One, I think there needs to be a capacity building, training and capacity building. I think young people first should be made aware of the whole idea of financial literacy when it comes to investments, which investments are worthwhile, when to start an investment, when to know if it's working, when to know when to stop it if it's not really working. But the second thing would be mentorship. We need young people to be linked to businesses that are doing good, with businesses that have walked the journey, people in agriculture who have tried out business models. They have seen that it's working, and they can be able to hold these young people and walk up with them. It is some sort of business incubation, really, where a business can be able to be looked at. The proof of concept is able to be checked. Is it a viable business, and all those things. So I think when it comes to those mentorship. The young people would really need a lot of mentorship and coaching by people who are ahead of them for them to be able to make financially wise decisions, wise investment decisions, and all those things, because then they're able to work with the people who have been there before. So the incentives that can encourage MFIs and banks to be able to develop loan products for the youth and also facilitate access to of those loans to the young people. I think that first must be led by the government, because again there's an issue of risk, and that is what is making the financial service providers a bit reluctant to be able to provide these loans to the young people, because they anticipate that there's a high level of risk when you do that. But I think if the government can step up and not only come or support that with the incentivizing policy frameworks, but also come up with the tools such as subsidies to be able to work together with the financial service providers for them to provide these tailored loan products. I think that can work. It could be something like the government is providing maybe a loan, or to not only to its own institutions, such as the AFC, but to other commercial banks and financial service providers, and maybe asking them that for loan products that are targeting the youth, the borrowing interest can be made to be lower than the market rate, so that to make it easier for young people to be able to access those loans without really having to struggle with high interest rates, but also these service providers being able to also from their side get a good level of return from the investment. So I think it's about the government first showing the will to do that, and then now engaging the private sector, engaging the financial service providers to really see how are they going to move about it. But first, there must be an incentive for the financial service providers, so for them to be able to be encouraged to do this. But yes, I think a policy plus some of the tools from the government. Again, the government also being intentional, deliberate to invest through this financial service providers can really be helpful. We already know that there are those funds by the government, like the youth empowerment funds, but so far they have not been as effective as they ought to. Many people, young people that I talk to, and you tell them, but we have the youth empowerment fund, but then they will talk of long application processes and all those things. So again, those are some of the things that the government might also want to see, that they are being fixed. The processes are made quite simple and straightforward for the young people to be able to access this. We have a project called Green Employment in Agriculture, which is working in 12 counties in Kenya, and with it also comes with some financial access. We are working through the cooperatives. The SACCOs, to be able to provide these loans. So the organization I work for does not directly lend to farmers or to the youth or to women, but rather goes through these SACCOs to be able to provide access of these funds, of these loans to the farmers. So, and we've been able to see youths stepping up to access this, because the interest rates are lower than the market rate. So it's not a guarantee per se, but we've only made it easier and straightforward for even for the young people to be able to access these funds. The interest rates are very low, lower than the market rates. Therefore, it makes it easier for not only the young people to be able to access, but also to service these loans.